Welcome, everyone. In this lesson, we're going to change gears and start looking at the fundamentals of probability. Probability helps us understand how likely an event is to happen. And in this lesson, we're going to talk about some key terms, some types of probability, and we're going to start calculating some basic probabilities. So, we're going to start with the definition of probability. So, probability is a number that's between 0 and 1 that describes how likely an event is going to occur. So, for example, when we flip a fair coin, the probability of getting ahead is zero point 0.5 or 50%. So, that's the chance or the likeliness of something to happen. Now, some key terminology here. We have an outcome. It's a single possible result. So, for example, if we're rolling a die, one of the possible results could be that I roll a 3. There are 6 possible results, but each single possible result is considered an outcome. Now, an event could be one or more outcomes. It could be a combination of outcomes. And a sample space is when we list the set of all possible outcomes. So, for example, if we stick with the idea of rolling a die, and I said, please tell me what the sample space is, you would list 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5, comma 6, because that is the set of all the possible outcomes when you roll a single die. Now, let's focus on the value when we're talking about the actual numerical value of the probability. If we have a probability of 0, that means the event is impossible. There's no way it's going to happen. When we have a probability of 1, that means the event is certain to happen. Now, these values here, we're looking at it from the perspective of a decimal. This can also be written as a fraction or a percentage. If I was to talk about the probability that an event is impossible, I would say that's 0% if I want to talk about it in percent form. When we talk about a probability of 1 in percent form, that would be 100%. So we have to be able to convert between fractions, decimals, and percentages when we're talking about probability. Now, the notation you'll see for probability is right here. We use P for probability, and then whatever is inside the parentheses is the event that we're trying to find the probability for. Now, if you have taken an algebra class before, you'll notice this looks similar to function notation. P is the name of the function, and we use P for probability. And then inside the parentheses is our event. So just like function notation, we would say f of x. When we're stating our probability notation, we would say the probability of A, meaning event A. Now, whatever is inside here can change depending on what the event is and how you've labeled it, but we keep P the same. The only thing that changes is what the event is that we're trying to find the probability for. So using a coin as our example, flipping a coin, if I let the event that I toss a coin and get a head when I toss the coin, if I let that be labeled as head, I would say the probability of getting a head is 1/2 when I flip a coin. So here's that probability notation. Now let's start looking at the types of probability. So we have 3 main types we're going to talk about in this class. We have theoretical probability, And that's based on known outcomes. And I should have added in here as well. So make a note off to the side that the probability of all the outcomes should be the same. Each outcome has an equally likely chance of happening. So, for example, rolling a die. Your outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And each of those outcomes has an equal chance of happening. And the probability of each of those, they're all 1/6, right? 1 out of 6 chance for all of them. So that's going to be based on known outcomes. Now, relative frequency is based on historical data or experiments. So, an example of relative frequency might be how meteorologists predict the chance of precipitation. So, the meteorologist will go back in history and look at all the data that's available and look to see out of all of the times that the conditions were exactly the way they are now, how many times or what's the frequency that we had precipitation. And that is how they decide on the probability for if it's going to rain or not. For subjective probability, that's based on personal judgment or opinion. So, for example, someone that's a big movie critic might estimate a film's chance of winning an award. So, it's based on personal judgment and opinion. Let's look at example 1. A coin company states that each of their coins has a 1 in 4 chance of having a rare design because they print 25% of the coins with that design. What type of probability is being used? Now, since they're giving a fixed ratio or a percent chance based on how many coins are printed with this design, this is considered theoretical probability. It's based on known proportions rather than observed or results or opinions. So, this would be theoretical probability. Let's look at example 2. A baseball analyst reports that a player got hits in 97 out of their last 300 at bats. They claim that the player's hit probability is 97 out of 300. What type of probability is being used? This would be considered relative frequency probability because it's calculated from past data. The statistics from the player's past performance history is being used to come up with this probability. Let's look at example 3. A movie critic estimates there's a 70% chance a new film will win an award based on their experience and the buzz in the industry. What type of probability is being used? This is considered subjective because it's based on the critic's personal judgment and experience rather than exact data. So this would be subjective.